Welcome back to Tactical Insight, everyone. Welcome back to AFTV. We've got to talk about Arsenal's defeat at Goodison Park. Graham's back. It is always great to see you. And I'm actually really excited to talk about this because I think we've learned a lot from it, but it's not the circumstances in which we wanted to be, stood up here, reunited for the first time in a while, discussing Arsenal and how they've approached the game.
No, absolutely not, James. A very disappointing result Saturday, a very disappointing performance. Our first defeat in the Premier League for 5 months. The last defeat was on the 4th of September 2022 against Man United, but this was a deserved defeat. But our 5-point lead at the top of the Premier League retained, thanks to our North London friends, Tottenham Hotspur. I was going to lighten the mood today by singing Harry Kane is one of our own. Then I suddenly realised he can't be because he hasn't won any trophies. But
even when they're doing us favours.
But the thing is, he has seen Arsenal win a trophy himself. He was in the stadium at Highbury in 2004 when the Invincibles won the league. But yeah, thanks to Tottenham yesterday, and that's a fantastic headline. I think it's the headline of all headlines that Kane breaks the Tottenham goal-scoring record, helping Arsenal stay 5 points clear with a game in hand over Man City. Before we start today, James, I just want to compliment you on a fantastic cameo performance on Sky Sports.
Thank you.
Because while I've been away, I was sitting there having my lunch last week or recently or whenever it was, and you popped up there and I thought, wow, that was
a
really good performance. And you analysed it perfectly. I thought it was a joy to see you on Sky Sports, and just shows I think you're a wonderful presenter. I enjoy working with you. And obviously this is going to be a painful one today, but we have to break it down.
Firstly, thank you so much for the kind words. And for anyone who does watch AFTV who saw that, I saw a lot of the comments as well. So I really appreciate all of it. And it's always a pleasure working with you, Graham. So let's go through it. We've got the two starting 11s here, Graham. But as always, we like to start with the match stats. Where are they? Here they are. And I've managed to cancel that. Let's open it again. Match stats. There we go. Let's go through it, because sometimes we do say the match stats don't always tell the full story. But let's break these down. Take it away.
Well, when I looked at these match stats, I didn't think it was an accurate interpretation of the game that I watched, because all the stats are heavily in our favour in a performance where I didn't think we performed to our normal levels. I think the key stat there is the XG, James. I think this is only the second game this season where we've, in the Premier League, where we've been beaten on XG. And I think that's the key to the whole result in the end. The fact that they expected goals is XG. They were at 1.8 to our 0.6. So for all our possession, for all our pass completion above those, the fact that we had above them, and the fact that we had more shots at goal than them, although less on target, they carried a bigger threat in the game and obviously won it because of that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's fun, isn't it? Because when you look at it, and we'll get up the attacking stats, actually when you look at it, they had, XG doesn't measure things like Dwight McNeil's, ball across the box that Calvert-Lewin didn't get to, for example.
Well, I'll correct you there, mate. I think that Calvert-Lewin got a touch on that, so it did measure it.
Oh.
So as the ball came across
Did he get a touch on
he got it touched off his foot, so I think that counted towards the XG.
Fine. Had he not, then it wouldn't have been measured.
No.
But either way, that goes down as a massive chance.
Yeah.
So, okay,
and it was a massive chance, wasn't it?
It was absolutely.
It's probably the best chance of the first half.
I think Arsenal maybe, if Nketiah's shot's better, if Saka's shot isn't cleared off the line, if Odegaard strikes it the way we know he can, maybe Arsenal did enough to maybe nick a goal, maybe. But the fundamental point is that Everton were worthy of 3 or 4 in that game. Let's go through this.
If we look at this then, James, we had almost double the final third entries and double the deep touches and more zone 14 touches, and we had more of the field tilt. So the attacking stats are massively in our favour, but it's what you do in those attacking areas. And I think the team wasn't functioning like it normally does up high, and we're going to touch today on why that was, what Everton did to stop us from playing. In the defensive stats we see here, again, this shows you, I think, how well Dyche defensively set his team up to stifle us. They more tackles, more successful interceptions, more clearances, the passes per defensive action. Obviously, the lower the better. So we had better passes per defensive action then. But overall, it was Sean Dyche, I thought, playing that sort of system that Newcastle used against us. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this season. Is this the blueprint for playing Arsenal? A 5-4-1?
Well, it might be, because in the two most recent drop points, that has been what we've been struggling to play against. Now, if we have a little look at Everton's defensive shape, I mean, we were talking about this before, and you had some really interesting kind of thoughts on where's this all gone? You had some really interesting thoughts on where this kind of all went wrong for Arsenal, or where it went right for Everton, let's say.
Yeah, first of all, I'll correct myself. It's actually a 4-5-1 that they played. So I think the thing is, Dyche teams in the past have always played like a 4-4-2. He's always had two pressing forwards, but in this game, Calvert-Lewin was the only person up front in this structure. Now, the two wide players you noticed here, McNeil and Iwobi, they were technically, if you look at the setup here, it's almost like two teams playing 4-3-3. We know Arsenal always in possession become like a 3-2-5 with three centre backs, Partey and then Zinchenko inverted.
I think we've got it actually, so we can start to show it. So we know that once it gets to about this point, we know that Zinchenko will sort of invert.
We use Zinchenko as an example. When he's on the ball, he's inverting. So as you can see, White, more or less in this game, could be in a 2-3-5 or in a 3-2-5. Zinchenko's inverting next to Partey. So we've moved from a 4-3-3 to this shape when we were in possession. And Everton out of possession to respond to this, as I thought, moved to a 4-5-1. And I think the key part of this strategy that he used was the two wide players have to be extremely disciplined. He wanted all through that game to have 2v1 in wide areas. He wanted McNeil back with Milenko, and he wanted Iwobi back with Coleman. So both Saka and Martinelli integral to our team out wide, holding the width of the pitch that we like to do. He doubled up on them all through the game. But I thought the key player in this game was Gana Gueye, because I thought that his role was very interesting. Because I think the way Everton played, James, was depending who had the ball out of Partey and Zinchenko in build-up, who picked up off the centre halves. So they were quite happy for the centre halves to have the ball. Calvert-Lewin might press White, might press Saliba, might press Gabriel. But I think the trigger was once the ball went to Zinchenko and White, and Zinchenko had a lot of touches on Saturday without being his normal progressive self. Doucouré, if Zinchenko got the ball, Doucouré would come out of the midfield 5 and engage with Zinchenko. And he would literally use almost like his cover shadow to stop the ball going into Xhaka. Now, in which case, when Zinchenko's got the ball, when Doucouré is doing that, Gueye has moved across now to cover Xhaka. Now, if Partey has the ball, the difference here then is...
Well, I think we've got it with White getting the ball, but
it goes to White.
Similar thing, basically out on the right-hand side.
Yeah, so Calvert-Lewin would go to White. Now, you notice that Partey now has been blocked by Awana, right? And again, Gueye has now come across now. So he was his role I thought was interesting. He was either... depending on who was pressing, either Partey or Zinchenko, of the three midfielders, if Doucouré was pressing Zinchenko, or if Onana was pressing Partey, Gueye switched across to actually mark our number 8. So they literally always had 4 compact across the pitch, in this area of the pitch, to actually stop us from progressing the ball through the lines. And also, if we did get it through, they always had cover. They had cover 2v1 in the wide areas, and they had cover across the middle of the pitch, James, covering our 2 number 8s. As a result of that, we struggled in our build-up play. I think this became a game that Everton wanted it to be, a physical game. They wanted it played in the areas of the pitch they wanted it to play in. We couldn't seem to shift it, and we carried on playing this way all through the game, even when we made the substitutions, and they carried on blocking us out. A lot of people thought on Saturday they can't carry on playing like that for the 90 minutes, but they did. And once they got the goal, it gave them something to hold on to. As I say, very disciplined in wide areas, 2v1 on our wide players, and then stifling our play through the middle of the pitch. They stopped us from playing through the middle pitch. And then when we got it out wide, I didn't think we got it out wide quick enough. That's what I also thought. But when we got it out wide, they always had players in position. I think what they also did was they very cleverly stopped our connections through the middle, not only through the middle of the pitch, but out wide. Odegaard only passed to Saka 4 times in that game. Odegaard and Saka is almost like our right-hand side is our strength. And Odegaard's only combining with Saka 4 times, that's a problem. Xhaka and Odegaard only combined with Martinelli once. Martinelli and Nketiah hardly ever combined at all on that side. And I felt sorry for Martinelli, and we're going to talk about his role on the left-hand side in this Tactical Insight show. He didn't get with Zinchenko inverting and no Jesus in the wide left area of the pitch. He struggles, I think. But overall, they were very disciplined at Everton. They stopped us building up, and basically they stopped our connections through the team.
I was going to say, for a lot of that, we were doing the very humble thing of praising Everton because they were very good.
Yeah.
And actually, sometimes you lose a game and you feel really frustrated about the team, and there's definitely an element of that. But there was also a sense of, and as Sharoy said on Forever Arsenal, we got done. Everton were just better. Dyche was better on the day. They got it done, and they beat us. This is a graphic that we've seen in the runs on social media, powered by Oracle, so I've got to give credit to them. And it's Arsenal's shape in possession, average positions in possession. That's the key thing. So when I looked up the average positions through the game, it doesn't quite look the same because obviously that's out of possession as well. But with the ball, this is how Arsenal looked. And people making the point about Martinelli being quite isolated. That's what everyone was saying on social media compared to Saka, who had Odegaard and Nketiah, tends to naturally drift more towards this side. Look at the chance he created for himself. Well, they did create a very good chance from the left in Nketiah. Partey supports White as well. So there was more to help Saka than there was for Martinelli. And as you mentioned, the combinations weren't right either. They weren't combining the front three. There wasn't that sense of fluidity or understanding that you've seen, certainly for most of the season.
No, and I think this was a problem all through the game. Gabriel Martinelli, obviously very much, as you can see by this graphic, out here on his own on the left-hand side because Zinchenko inverts, and Granit Xhaka is there in the half space. But the players between the half space were blocked out by, as I say, by their midfield. And as you can see, we are predominantly, if you see the way we're set up, to be better on the right-hand side. Saka gets more help. Saka struggled, I thought, on Saturday in terms of he didn't complete any of his dribbles, or there was five dribbles he failed to complete, and obviously he wasn't effective because basically they were always doubling up on him 2 or 3v1. So I think this graphic does show an issue that we've got now in the team. As good as Eddie Nketiah has been, he tends to drift onto this side of the pitch, which does leave Martinelli, as you can see, in a lot of space on his own.
Let's talk about, we talked about the players and the lack of connections there. And actually, I've got more criticism of the players a little bit later. But I just want to have a little look at the two starting 11s again. Okay, we know for an hour of the game, it's not really gone our way. They've got the goal, and now Arsenal need to find another way to play through them. Now, the thing that I found frustrating a little bit, I don't think Arteta had a really poor day at the office where every decision he made he got wrong. But, and it was sparked by a thought I heard Tom Canton talking about as well on Twitter. It was, can Arteta not just make substitutions, but actually influence the game and, without completely compromising on your principles, just ask different questions of Everton? I think you had a similar thought.
I did. I thought that his substitutions were very like for like. And unfortunately for him, when he made the substitutions, obviously we then immediately conceded the goal. So he'd played his hand, so to speak.
Yeah.
I thought it needed to do something different to win this game. I thought possibly in the game we didn't get the ball forward quick enough. I thought that we could have done two things really, James. I think that we talked about that left-hand side, right? And obviously we talked about he took off Martinelli and brought Trossard on to play out on the left-hand side. He already made that change when they scored their goal. But there was almost an argument with Granit Xhaka not quite being as effective, being blotted out and not making many connections up high. I mean, his progressive passing, his key passing, not as high as it normally is. That maybe take Xhaka out and play Trossard in Xhaka's position.
Let's do that. Let's get them in. So we're talking about, let's go find all the players here if we can somewhere. We've got Trossard to come in. Here he is. And you want Trossard to get into this space here, you're saying. How do we address that? Taking Xhaka out of the team?
Yeah. Well, taking Xhaka off and maybe moving Trossard in. The advantage it has here is Trossard, I think, is a very flexible player, can play right across the front line. But also, if you move Martinelli inside, now Martinelli can now get in closer to Nketiah and Trossard can come out. They can sort of switch positions. So Trossard can play in here, he can play out there. Martinelli, when Trossard did that, it can come closer to Nketiah. We could have had two players up high. I think we needed to do something to knock Everton out their comfort zone.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, the other thing we could have done, I think, looking back, and I did say on Twitter on Saturday, we're not moving the ball quick enough. We're not moving the ball out into the wide areas quick enough. We needed to give them a different problem because basically, when the ball went to Partey or Zinchenko, they were getting set back and they were at their pressing, the trigger for their pressing movements of their midfield, and they pressed us really well on Saturday. I was very impressed with the way they pressed as well. But I think sometimes you want a diagonal quickly. So if Partey or Zinchenko's got the ball, you want a quick diagonal out wide to Saka or to Martinelli to get to maybe go over their midfield, to get them high up the pitch, maybe one-on-one with their fullback, and then sort of try and get either Odegaard or a number 8 or somebody forward to support a wide player and try and get the ball quicker, attack them quicker, because I think Deitch basically sort of like likes to sort of like defend the middle of the pitch, and he likes to keep, he's very good at defending the penalty box as well, the way that they set up. So I think we had to, there was 2 ways he could have gone. I know people are going to accuse me of being hindsight and all that, but I did think that maybe we need to change the way we play. The game was being played the way Everton wanted it to be played, and the way they set up told you the way they wanted to play the game. And I think Arteta then had 2 choices, either, and I'm not going to criticise the team too much, I'm not going to criticise the manager too much, because the way we've played has got us to where we are. So you can understand him thinking, we're going to be good enough to break this team down eventually. So, and I can understand him. So it's not really a criticism. We're just looking at something different we could have done, and I think he had 2 options, either maybe to bring Trossard on and play him in the number 8 position, and then Martinelli could rotate positions and get someone in closer to Nketiah, or the other option I think was to go longer, quicker, more diagonally out wide, before one of their wide players can drop back in to create a 2v1 and change the dynamic a bit, go quicker forward, diagonally quicker, to get our wide players attacking the fullbacks, in a different way.
I agree, first and foremost. I think ultimately the shape was always going to look a 3-2-5 kind of thing. And I agree, I think you could have done something just to mix up and ask a different question. You could do this because Martinelli likes to get nearer to goal. Trossard has played as a wing-back, so you could even actually just make it a flat 3-5-1 or 3-2-5, and that's it. You're chasing a goal and you're going for it. He's done that before, Arteta. Saka's played as a wing-back, so why not? The other thing I think he really could have done, so if we're assuming Martinelli comes off because he wasn't having his best game, and Tierney comes on, if we just bring him on here, let's bring Trossard into this space now. I think, again, you could have achieved this by simply having, and if we just go to the tools here so I can try and illustrate this as best as possible. Yeah, it's probably the way to do it. You could probably have, this is your front 3, this is your midfield 3, and this as your back 4. Now, again, we always know that the starting 11 on paper looks different when it actually goes out there. But we've seen before Tierney overlapping. We've seen a wide player tucking inside. That's very Smith Rowe-esque in this team. And we've seen Xhaka, but this time Zinchenko, dropping into the space to build a Partey. So he could have kept a lot of the principles he loves. 2 deep-lying playmakers, Zinchenko being one of them, who's got a brilliant threaded pass from there, although we're going to talk about him and the team's passing in a minute. Trossard getting to central, more creative areas, as we know he can do. But Tierney asking a different question of Coleman and going around the outside. And even if you do have, if we just clear all this, even if you do have Trossard in the 1v1 with Coleman, and a few times Marte got into that battle, wouldn't it be great if, Iwobi might track Tierney all the way, but at least you've taken a man out the game, and at least you're opening some space. And I felt Arteta could have asked different questions, but also when you look at the fact against Man United, look at that winning goal against Man United. It's Trossard getting the ball centrally and Zinchenko overlapping.
100%.
So I do think we just failed to ask enough questions of the of Everton. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. But I think a lot of people in game were thinking just throw something else at them. Let's talk about Arsenal's passing on the day. Here we go, Arsenal's passing percentage. Let's get this up. Because I thought this was really disappointing. Now, I was watching the game and I thought we looked so sloppy. Passes were undercooked, underhit. In credit to Everton, they were pressing us really well. I think forced us into errors a lot. But I was looking at it and I thought, well, let's look at our season average for 5 of our deep creators, deep-lying playmakers who'd see a lot of the ball, who set the tempo for Arsenal. And let's compare their pass percentage against Everton to their season average. Now, Zinchenko's was down 82% from his season average of 87%, but the rest were actually, Partey's was better, White's was better, Xhaka's was the same, and Jorginho's was worse, but not by a lot. And I thought, my eyes are not lying to me. I know that we looked sloppy, so what is it? And then I narrowed it down to short passing versus Everton compared to our season average. Zinchenko down massively to 83% from 94%. Partey the same, but White down 5%. Xhaka down 3%. By the way, these small percentages make a big difference. And Jorginho down a massive 11% as well. We just had no ability to... what's our game about? Passing, control, fluidity. It's moving players around. Yes, they're a very physical side, Everton. They did a lot to stop us. But if you've got the ball, it doesn't matter how physical they were, but we couldn't get into a rhythm at all.
No, I think it was part of that was because of their pressing. They won this game was all about winning your duels, and they were obviously pressing us and winning duels, stopping us from making those sort of short passes. They did that really well. I think, talking about Jorginho, an interesting stat I saw on Saturday was when he came on, Thomas Partey was on the pitch for 59 minutes and completed 5 less passes. Jorginho completed less passes than him in only 31 minutes, 25 out of 31. 6 less passes. He failed to complete 6 of his passes, where Partey only failed to complete 5 of his. I think it was something like 59 out of 64. So I think there was a drop off there. Although to be fair to Jorginho, he's only just come into the team. We were chasing the game a bit, so to
and
be fair to him.
Struggled, yeah.
But I think everyone struggled. I think there wasn't a great performance in the team on Saturday. But I think short passing was part of it. But I think that what Everton did really well and stopped us, although we had the ball, we got the ball up high quite a lot, they actually closed the spaces, were very compact, forcing us out wide and then getting the players out wide to cover our 2 wide players, but they stopped the connections. The connections between Odegaard and Saka, Odegaard and Martinelli, and even Partey to Odegaard. I think Odegaard was roughed up quite a bit in this game. He had that great chance, as you said, but he shot wide when he came on to a pass in the second half, I believe that was. But overall, he just couldn't get into the game. And also, I thought when I watched it, Partey and Odegaard were coming deeper because they weren't being able to get on the ball. And that's a credit to the way Everton set up, that they made us change. So they made us change the way we played, but we didn't make them change. And I think that's the biggest indictment of it all. Overall, that we, to be fair to the team, we've played our football, we played this way all season and got results. I can understand why maybe Arteta didn't want to change it. He stuck to the principles of the team and he defended the team, I thought, really well after the game. He said some great things.
Quotes were fantastic.
Fantastic quotes from Arteta. But I thought they stopped the connections between our front players. We needed to change the way we were playing, James.
Completely agree. Now, I just want to talk about this goal. It really frustrates me. At the time, I'll be honest, it didn't frustrate me that much. Do you know why? Because I was thinking to myself, and I think I've just taken a player out. Who have I taken out? Decore, yeah, let's reopen this. Apologies. I've managed to...
Shame you couldn't have taken him out on Saturday.
I know. Would have done us a big favour because he's heavily involved in this. But we've... Okay, fine. Now, I tell you what, at the time it didn't frustrate me because I thought they've been causing us problems all day from set pieces. It can happen, okay? It can happen. Then I looked at it back in more detail. Now, we sit here and we try to... as people just watch the game, we try to analyse what we think's happening. When it comes to 2 things, goalkeeping and set pieces, I try to not to offer too much judgment because I don't know what it's like. I don't know what it's like for set piece coaches on the field. I don't know what it's like to play in the Premier League full stop. But this is one thing I really can't offer too much on. But I can say when some things don't look right. And what doesn't look right to me is that this is probably the 5th corner, 6th corner of the game, whatever it is. And what they've been doing before is whipping balls to that back post, back post, back post, back post. And Arsenal approached this one with, first of all 11 players in the box, every single one of them in the box. They had 5. Decore, Cody, Calvert-Lewin, Onana, Tarkowski. They had 5 players. We had 10 outfielders there to deal with it, even Rams there to claim. They were actually worried about the counter-attack. Mikalenko, Gay and Iwobi on the brink. McNeil taking the corner and Coleman just for the halfway line. So we've committed everything to defending this set piece. The other thing you then got, if we just play it through slowly, we've got it here, I think we do. Right, so when this ball comes into the box and everyone's making the run, and you sort of sense it's coming to the back post at this point, Tarkowski's in a battle with Odegaard. I feel a little bit sorry for Odegaard because he's just always going to lose that battle. He just is. Yeah. So that something's gone wrong in the arranging of who should be where. But you've got White, one of our best headers of the ball, at the front. You've got Xhaka sort of in the middle. And I get it. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. If that ball had come centrally, you want them there. But you've also got Zinchenko very central. And Saliba's the only one really at the back post who can do anything. But even then, he's not fully at the back post. It's gone over his head. And Tarkowski's been able to charge it with the best kind of pressure on him being Jorginho and Odegaard, if anything. It's a crowded area, it's a good header.
You think we got the wrong players in the wrong part of the penalty?
Again, hindsight's really wonderful. It's really easy for me to say you should have all been there because that's where we scored from. But it does feel like we had again, if we had Saliba and Gabriel there, and then they score at the near post, everyone's going, what are they doing there? It's all I know is they scored, and our best headers of the ball weren't where they should have been to head the ball. Whose fault that is, I don't know. Does it just happen? Maybe, but it just doesn't look right.
Well, one thing I will say is that I thought the whole dynamics of the game changed on Saturday when they got that string of corners after about 20 minutes. We'd started reasonably well, although albeit they were defending in that 4-5-1 shape and obviously making it difficult. But then they sort of like won a few, they put a few presses, they turned the ball over, they won a few set plays, and I think that they gave, you saw their intention straight away from these corners. Apart from there was one corner, I think, where Calvert-Lewin came near post and flicked a header wide. Generally, their corners were to the back stick. They targeted our far post.
Yeah.
They did it on 3 of the 4 occasions in the first half before this goal. And what they were doing, they were getting their tall physical players like Owana, who was sort of like shielding, blocking our players from getting across, knowing the ball was going to come to the back stick. They had players making runs to that back stick to try and get on the end of a cross which was aimed for the back stick. So I thought they showed their intentions. They made quite clear in the first half before they scored their goal. They were going to target our back post.
I think that's the disappointment, Graham.
And that's the fact that we didn't recognise that again, and we didn't do nothing about it. And I agree with you. We had the wrong players at the wrong. It's easy to turn around. As you said, if the corner hadn't been right, but you could see what they were trying to do in the first half.
That's it.
And what's really disappointing to me is that Nicholas Jover, we praised him. We've been really good from set plays over the last year. And up to the last 2 Premier League games, we'd only conceded, I think, something like 1 goal from a corner. Now we've conceded twice from corners in successive games, albeit the goal against Man United was when Aaron Ramsdale unfortunately came and couldn't hold the cross. But we are, we've conceded twice from corners. And I think this was a typical Dyche. It was a Burnley-like performance, wasn't it, from Dyche? 4-4-2 in a way. Although it was only Calvert-Lewin up, but he got that second player up there to make a 2 and his press. And he had 5 players defending across, making it narrow, and he defended the box. And then he relied on a set play, and we couldn't deal with it. And we couldn't turn it around from the way he was sort of stopping us from playing. That's the disappointing thing.
Yep, agreed. You sent this, which I thought was interesting, the Manager of the Month curse. Now, let's specify that Arteta has actually won games after being awarded the Manager of the Month award, but the difference is that actually when he's won the Manager of the Month award, the then first game of the following month, he's failed to win in all 5 occasions, which is just a weird coincidence, but I find this kind of
happened,
stats.
isn't it? It's happened.
Let's start with September 2021. He won it. That was a good run. He beat Tottenham. He beat Burnley away. Funnily enough, he beat Norwich at home. That earned him the award, and then it was a draw.
We went to Brighton, and we were outplayed on that night. We got a 0-0. Then, of course, when the top 4 was on the line, this was a start of the run that ultimately cost us when we lost those games close together. We lost, I think, Palace, and then we lost to Brighton, didn't we? And after we got Manager of the Month award, Palace beat us 3-0 at Selhurst Park. Then the last defeat in the Premier League was after we got Manager of the Month. We went to Man United, albeit we played really well on the day, didn't deserve defeat, and were turned over 3-1. Then, of course, November, December, which is a double month because it was a World Cup month, he got Manager of the Month again, and Newcastle used the system that Dyche used on Saturday, that 4-5-1, and although we were better in that game, created more, it was another 0-0, and then, of course, the defeat at Everton. So every time he's got Manager of the Month, the next game, of the 5 times we've lost 3.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's just a coincidence, but it's just. I was going to say that I don't want him winning any more Manager of the Month awards, but actually I take that back, because if he's winning them, it means he's doing something right for at least the rest. So we could swallow maybe a couple bad results here and there. Let's go through the roundup stats. I managed to take Decore out. Well, I don't know what my issue with Decore is, but these were the starting 11s as we go through.
Okay, thank you, James.
Roundup stats.
Well, first of all, Arsenal named the same starting 11 for the 5th consecutive Premier League match, the first time since April-May 2015. The lineup that they used on Saturday against Everton is the second most common starting lineup in the Premier League this season. Do you know what the most common lineup is?
Yeah, so I actually got this right, everyone watching. I've got this right. I'll give you a second. What was the most frequent starting 11 this season of all clubs in the Premier League before this one? Because this is the second, right? This is the second.
Yeah,
road.
so what is the most common lineup?
The exact same team, but with Jesus up front.
100%.
There we go.
Spot on, mate.
Well done to all of you, got it.
So that's 6 times. So 6 times with Jesus in it. That is, instead of Nketiah, that is the most common lineup in the Premier League this season. And of course, people do say that Arsenal have been able to sort of field the same team, which has been one of the reasons why they've been able to do so well this season, of course. Arsenal have now dropped points to 4 teams, 2 in the top 4, that's Man United and Newcastle, and 2 currently in the bottom 3, Southampton and Everton. Arsenal have now played 11 of their 19 away games in the Premier League this season, 9 at home. City have played 11 at home and 10 away.
So 10 away, so they've got, sorry, how many have they played of their away games?
10.
They've played 10?
They played more at home than us.
Yeah, they've played 11 at home, so they've got 9 away left.
They've played 10.
And we've got, okay, fine.
Interesting. After conceding just 1 goal, as we touched on earlier, after conceding just 1 goal from a corner season, Arsenal have now conceded a goal from a corner in each of their last 2 Premier League games. And finally, I just want to end on a positive note. Harry Kane broke Jimmy Greaves' goal-scoring record as Spurs helped Arsenal stay 5 points clear with a game in hand by beating City. That's got to be, in my opinion, the best headline ever.
It's not a bad one.
Not a bad way to end a disappointing weekend, is it?
It's one that all of North London will be weirdly happy about. But hey, look, Tottenham did us a favour. We went into this weekend 5 points clear of City with a game in hand, 19 games to play. We're now 5 points ahead of City with a game in hand and 18 to play. Could you call that a step towards the title? It might have been a step towards getting Man United back into it. That is my only concern. Maybe it might affect our rhythm. We'll find out in Tactical Insight next week when we break down the result against Brentford. Great to have you back, Graham. Fantastic
Thanks,
as always. Big thanks to everyone who's enjoyed this show. Hit the like button if you did, and remember we will be covering everything leading up to the Brentford game and more this week on AFTV. So go check all that content out. Hit the alert button, the alarm, whatever it's called, so that you will get little alerts when we have uploaded to AFTV. Big thanks to everyone. Shame to be back, breaking down the defeat. But I think hopefully it's been therapeutic and we've taken a little bit from this and we understand why. Hope you have too. All right, many thanks. Catch you on the next one.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.